Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show where we have somebody who decided, kicking and screaming, because another party member is forcing him. Neil convinced Jake to use it. Go ahead, Jake. You have a 9 on stealth currently.
Yeah, Neil.
Use your luck pool. Neil, it was very generous of you too. Oh, look at that.
I'm no luck or death. Thank you very much.
And look at that. You actually have 3 dice left in your pool after that roll too.
Oh, it's been automated.
Yeah.
Who did that, I wonder?
Oh, well, it was Unfunny One. I gave a big shout out to him at the beginning of the stream. And just to give you the same direction that I gave them before, if you actually go to the hamburger menu, top right-hand corner of your Roll20 screen, and where it says, what is it, luck
Fudge.
roll or whatever?
Yeah, in bar.
Yeah, press in bar.
Roll luck and click the in bar one. Just so you can tap it down in the bottom corner.
Yep, exactly.
Oh.
Okay, moving on. So you guys, you're walking throughout there, you're brushing the stuff up, and all of a sudden you hear like the laughter from not too far off. And I mean, not too far off. So immediately you like look around, shit. You quickly find yourself over around this rock and lean up against it and just hold yourself flat against the rock for a while. And the knolls come up. And speaking their fucking weird language. Ah! Darn it! Norwegian, I'll give you 100 daddies in a minute. So, so you speaking their language to one another as they're laughing creepily to one another. They're making their way around. They're searching. One of them even starts to make its way around the rock that you were literally pressed against and hiding. And then another one calls out after it. It stops, looks back, calls back to it. It's a little chatter back and forth, and then there's a laughter amongst them, and they start making their way slightly off the direction from where they came from, but back down the hill a bit, trying to find the scent from elsewhere. Apparently you had hidden their scent well enough, and yours is magically hidden perfectly. They didn't discover where you were, because they literally beat a perception check DC 11, but not to 12. You were able to avoid them, literally by 1. And so, and so they turned back away. Yep. Neil, it was totally Neil, right? Right? No.
That's right.
And so they turn back down the hill and start making their way off, searching for wherever it was that these people had gone to. Back inside the cave, the two of you are waiting for a while he's get this potion lasts for an hour, so he's gone for a while, covering up tracks and so on and so forth. And you're there with the corpse. Do you guys say anything? Do you guys do anything?
Rarin is going to check Jaden's corpse.
Roll me a medicine check or whatever, the heal check, please.
No, I think you misunderstand. Check Jaden's corpse. Ruffle through pockets.
Oh.
He would also do that, so we'll roll a heal check because it's all together. He's checking what she has on her, and if anything has been done that needs or can be set right.
You're looking over her body, and you come to the realization there's no rigor mortis, there's no immediate signs of death at all. As a matter of fact, listening ever so closely to her heartbeat, you think she might still be loved.
Can I?
And then it stops.
You've got a potion. You've got a potion. I've got a potion. I've got a minor healing potion.
Yeah. Can I use a potion of healing?
You
I would
have one. You have a potion of cure moderate wounds.
I
You've
have
got
2.
moderate.
I have a potion of minor healing and cure moderate.
we swapped it. You've got the moderate. I've got the minor.
You swapped it.
Yeah.
I'll delete that one then.
I don't know where you kept it on your character sheets. I put it on the notes.
Right next to notes in gear.
Oh. I looked in gear and I didn't see it, but maybe you called it something weird because it's called Cure Light Wounds, but maybe you called it something else.
I called it Potion of Healing.
That's why.
Because that's what I was told it was.
Yeah. It's Cure Light Wounds.
I've got mine on the belt for a swift action, so I can immediately just, like, if you point at it, I will hand it immediately.
The heartbeat has stopped.
The heartbeat seems to have just stopped.
Okay, so Tesh can administer a mouthful of healing potion, and we can begin chest compressions.
Okay. So you're gonna make a heal check while he's dropping the moderate healing in her, right, Tesh?
Uh,
Or the light
I
healing.
don't know how potions in
So
like
one d8 plus 1 or 3d8 plus 3. Sorry, or 2d8 plus 3.
I mean, I don't. As in, like, what I meant is, I don't know how potions for getting people up work. Is it better for a stronger potion, or is it the same? It just it's
Technically
health up.
speaking, if you're dead, potion of healing does nothing. So you guys are trying to manipulate the fact that you
then
literally just heard it stop.
I will pull my potion in the minor healing.
Okay. So you the cure light wounds you pour into her mouth as he's trying, right before he starts doing the compressions, and he's compressing and compressing, and he's trying so hard, but unfortunately, he tries so hard he ends up accidentally cracking a rib.
No, that's correct procedure. If you don't crack a rib, you're not doing deep enough compression.
I understand that it is a liability, and sometimes you can get sued for it just by being a good Samaritan and trying to.
Right?
Yeah, the U.S. has terrible laws when it comes to that stuff, unfortunately. But you good Samaritan laws mean you have to help if you know how, and then unfortunately you can also get sued for trying to help. So
Really? Do you have laws that you have to do that?
if you are trained in it, the good Samaritan law means that you need to help. But if it's not known, then it's not a big deal. So yeah, it's ridiculous. So anyways, you are
only get sued if you stop giving CPR.
Yeah.
You can't be sued if you're giving CPR. You can only be sued if you stop before help arrives.
So I'm almost positive it's been a long time since I take these classes. I want to say about 4 years, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So anyways, moving past that, because that's just U.S. weird laws. Or at least mass weird laws. So you are pressing so hard, unfortunately you crack a rib, and you keep pushing, but you think maybe you cracked it in the wrong area. You try and you try, but you can't resuscitate. She doesn't come back.
I unfortunately don't have anything else that I can do to help.
Shit. Raren would sit back and, we're in a small space. He sits back, legs bent, and just rests his head in between his knees.
I'm gonna do a thing. I'm gonna sacrificial boon, sacrifice a health, and I'm gonna try and do a heal check, just to make sure. And that gives me, it only gives me a +1, but it still gives me a +1. And I'm gonna try and continue just in nope.
Unfortunately, no.
I'm sorry.
If we'd have been a little bit sooner, then she would still be alive. Well, if we'd just killed one more gnoll, we could have saved her. Where's one?
I believe he's still covering our tracks, hopefully. I hope he's okay. But I feel like if we go out now, we might ruin the whole ruse.
I agree. Raren would lean back against the back of the cave wall, get his crossbow out. load it, pop a bolt on, rest it across his lap, and then wait. Eyes on the door. Or entrance, I suppose.
After a considerable amount of time passes, eventually you hear branches rustling, shifting outside, and as both of you are starting to tense up and get ready to attack, him not being the fool he is, he calls out a bit of a warning before he shows his face into the cave, saying,
Honey, I'm home.
Oh god, if only the mood wasn't so dour on the inside.
Yeah, you just get like a look from Rare. You're like,
Real bad timing.
mood has changed.
You just see Valerie.
Has something happened in here?
We might have actually been able to save her if we'd been a little quicker.
Her heart,
What, she was still alive?
her heart was still beating.
Then you're sure it's not now? I'm gonna go over and do a heal check.
Of course, I'm sure. I wouldn't be sitting here moping like a fool. Rolls nat 20. Still being.
Jeez.
Nope.
You guys are just puncturing more lungs.
No, they're just checking.
I'm just kidding.
Just
They're not Jesusing. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, definitely dead.
You're like, I'm
Blood
gonna see
and
if she's
water.
alive. Kalima. So unfortunately, she's not there. I don't know. Actually, you rolled a 6. You think she's savable? You think she's?
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's mean.
That's a lot to say.
Oh god.
Presume your work out there went well.
Barely.
Barely.
The knolls were right outside. I don't believe they seen me. I waited, but I guess we'll see.
Yes.
Let's
Hopefully
hope
that
so.
potion did its trick. Let's have some rest. Take watches. At the first sign of sound, wake up the others first before seeing what the sound is.
I will walk over to where the body is, and I'll pull out the iron holy symbol of my god, and I would look at to Rayron and say, "Do you mind?"
I don't know if she was religious. I never asked. I suppose it's a form of paying one's respects.
With that, I will just do just a prayer to the dead. I will say it in. I'll say it in common, so they can hear. And at the end of it, it'll just say something like, "May you fight, fight on in Vrogar's hall," something like that.
Yep. I imagine you don't keep the corpse in the cave with you while you're sleeping. Maybe wrap it up in one of your blankets or the like, and move it outside, cover it in some of the bush, and to keep
No,
the sense
why
of...
would we move it out? It's only just died.
All right, there you go. It's gonna fart a bunch, This corpse farts. And then you guys are able to spend the night in here. It's not comfortable. It's not particularly restful, but you are able to spend the night here. If you happen to have the fatigue stat on you, you're going to need to roll me a fortitude save to lose that for tomorrow. It's a low DC. It's actually only a DC 8, but...
Oh no! Let's see an 8!
Well, did you want to use a luck?
Hell yeah, I
will
do,
gain-
but I'm not going to. But I do want to.
So you're still fatigued and the other one isn't. The next day, you guys, what do you do with her corpse? And don't get weird.
I will I would just sling her over my shoulder unless he wanted to carry her himself.
No, I meant, do you bury it or you bring it with you?
I think
I'd bring it out of Knoll territory.
Well, I think we're out of Knoll territory, aren't we?
I don't know.
I mean, you're up in the hills by like a almost 2-hour trek up into the hills. This isn't where they typically travel into for hunting.
Yeah,
They stay in the valley.
If we bury her here, the scent of the trees will mask her and things won't dig her up, hopefully.
If you'd like,
Look to Rayron.
This is what I would be suggesting.
Let's give her a proper burial up here. She has a bit of a view, at least.
So, you guys could, if you wanted to, utilize this cave almost as like a bit of a sarcophagus or catacomb and just kind of like cover the face of it with some rocks. It's a pretty tight entrance. So it would take you a couple hours to do, but it'd be a comfortable place to set her to rest if you cared to do that. Or you can just, pile of rocks outside or however it is you want to do it. Either way, it's rocky terrain unless you get down into the actual valley. You're not going to be able to dig up a hole.
Oh, okay. So, I think probably this cave is a good place.
I agree.
Rayron is his downtrodden, his heart is heavy, and the night's rest was barely that. You could barely call it that. So it's exhausting for him to go through this work, but he does, of course, lead the charge on it, being his friend. The one he was second closest with, of all the people on the wall that he served with for a long period of time. You guys go through the few hours it takes to dig up the rocks and pile them up well enough, and shoving, of course, bits of mud or whatever you can get inside there to act as a bit of a mortar, and then freezing it to hold.
I would
in
also
place.
try and scratch her name into the side in the cave, but into the rock itself. I would ask Rayron what her full name was.
And you can easily do that, of course.
Yeah.
And then you turn it into a proper catacomb for her, unworked but covered in her body, and there laying to rest. You didn't find anything of value on her, you friggin' pickpocket rave robber. But
there was even have 5 gold. Just saying.
So it's the 5 gold. You do find the 5 gold. But there was really nothing else from the stuff that she had picked from the pockets before. And so you turn and you're able to start making your trek back towards the keep. With an additional day's travel, it takes a while to get back there, but it is early in the day. You guys probably don't push too hard because you are tired. And of course you're being a bit cautious in case knolls are still out and on the hunt. But you make your way down, and before the sun sets, you're able to make your way back into the keep itself. You get into the keep. The keep door is still shut, of course. And then you go inside, you shut it behind you, even locking it behind you. Make your way up to that platform before, over the pit that you did before. We don't need to worry about any rolls. You guys are just smart and cautious. And then you only have to roll in like times of quickness. And then you guys make your way into that room, the one that leads eventually out into the balcony. The innermost chamber, I should say. And you spend one more night's rest here, gathering together your strength. Unless you choose to travel with the bird immediately, but I imagine it's just been a long day because you chose to do the stone work.
Yep.
That's why traveling is not really a good idea. You rest one more time, bring you to like your 5th day here in the in this keep, and finally the next morning. Luckily for you, the skies outside are perfectly clear. Even the morning carried a lot of the warmth from the day beforehand. The sun is beating down, and you hear birds chirping, and one screeching really loud. And it gives you a bit of a renewed feeling. Yes, you've had to bury all 3 of your friends to one degree or another, but there's things to worry about, things to focus on. You eat your breakfast this morning, you have a bit of more of pep in your step, and you make your way out to the balcony. Today, we're going to try something new and different. Today, we're going to triple ride on the back of a big bird.
Big bird. Am I still fatigued, or should I make a fortitude check?
No, you're fine. You're fine. If you chose to continue traveling,
how many nights rest have we had all up, so I can bring my HP back up?
Oh, my apologies. So since that combat beforehand, you did that first rest, which you already did.
Yep.
1.
It was 3.
So, you're correct. Yep, you're correct. My apologies.
Yeah,
You're correct.
so we've already moved up.
So it's 4 days in the keep, 3 days rest. Yep.
Okay.
Quick question: do I still have that temp health, or is that gone?
Oh, that's long gone. Yeah, that's long gone.
Yeah, I thought so.
So if you guys wanted to, I don't know what your state of health looks like at the moment, but if you really wanted to, you could, in theory, spend a full day resting here before, not just heading out this morning, but maybe even kind of like kick around this keep a bit more, check out those doors a bit more, do it a little bit more examining, reshuffle through your notes and all the stuff that you learned from the guy inside the room. Just kind of like spend a day to kind of like recenter yourselves. Maybe even like train with your weapon, train with each other, get to know each other a little bit. Like actually just spend a whole day regathering yourselves before you get on the bird's back and start flying. That would allow you multiple healing points and my apologies.
If we were even considering it, I would put it to 1, because 1 is his friend is the one that we need to go hopefully get from the slavers. But it's also not a bad idea just for making sure that we can perform well in combat. He says, gesturing to the shoulder he hit.
One, you of course know that you were grasping at straws before with the words that you had. If time was going to be of the essence and you were going to act upon things immediately, maybe you would have had to have turned back a long time ago. So the trail is growing ever colder, but how much colder is it now than it was then? Yeah, it's entirely up to you though. Do you want to?
Yeah. I would. That's in his mind. So he's he'll suggest staying the one more day, through the day or whatever, and regaining some more strength before we set out.
Okay. So you guys do spend that one additional day of rest. I'm not going to make you make a heal check. I'll actually be nice enough to say that you succeed in your long-term treatment or long-term care or whatever it's called for the heal checks, meaning that instead of healing 2 health points today, you actually heal 4 health points today. So that's double what you normally would do. So everybody
heals 2 overnight.
Yeah.
You
we only
usually
heal 1.
You heal 1 overnight, but because it's a full day rest, you would heal 2 on a full day rest. But with a long-term care, it'd actually be 4. So you heal 4 times.
Bam! Max.
Just succeeded.
Max.
Same. Yeah, that's good.
Cool. Beyond that, you of course get more comfortable with what you're wearing, what you're doing, so on and so forth. You explore the area. Tesh, you actually go into that other chamber, the one that the gentleman was in beforehand. He's not there waiting to speak with you or anything like that, unless you specifically call it to him, maybe. But you can pull out your notes, look at the map, and try to compare to everything you did beforehand, and make for me an intelligence check.
Okay. I will do that. I also would have at one stage gone to check the belt again. And wow.
Do you want to use luck point on that one?
Sorry, not on that one.
Okay. What were you saying? Oh, the belt. Do you want to try again on that one?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Wow.
Oh, come on. That was a roller coaster of emotions.
Still no idea what that belt does right there for you. Sorry, buddy. So, you guys are able to spend the day of resting. You two do anything of significance?
I'm considering it. Right now, oh dear. Oh,
yeah, it just started, and it started with a fury.
Right now, Raren is wearing crappy studded leather. Like, it's torn. It's clearly not been correctly maintained. During this day, he would take his time to pick through pieces of the debris outside, including the use of bone, and he would get to work on repairing this armor as best he could.
Okay. And so you work on that and try to sew it back together, do everything you can with what you have set before you, and it's functioning. It's functioning. One, anything of significance, or you can even technically aid Tesh. You can even technically aid Tesh in the other room if that's something that your character would care to do.
Nah.
Nah.
Probably just throw stuff off the edge of the balcony.
Okay, there you go.
I just had the image of, like, throughout the day, like, Raren's just like working out near the balcony, just like, and just throughout the day, it's just He just walks along with like this random bit of debris, just goes, drops it, and then wanders off for like half an hour, comes back, drops it, wanders.
You hear him
Would he
sighing a
watch it?
lot.
Would he
Because
drop
he's
it and
bored.
watch it
Yeah, that's what he would do.
and then smash?
Yeah.
Bored when he's not splitting the skull of a gnoll.
So you guys, eventually it's the next day again. You guys are, now's the day you're going to hop on the bird, pepping your step, everything I described beforehand. You go to the bird. Yeah, okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay now. And you go over, and this time you don't even have to fake using her voice. You try using your own voice, and it seems to be comfortable with you now. Maybe the using her voice was what you needed to do to give it pause before, but now it's comfortable with your smell and sound and everything as well, and look. So
There's a lot of that.
you go over, you start clambering up on the thing. This
is
time
the
you don't pluck any
face
feathers
smell.
as you get up there. It's your third time up, and you're a lot more careful, a lot more cautious. You don't pluck
No
any
more
feathers, even though it's incredibly uncomfortable. The other two start clambering up there as well. Oh God, you look like a mess. All three of you on top of this thing. It just what is this catastrophe? So you all get up there, and it's this awkward situation where you're all pressed, ass to crotch. Who's in the front, who's in the middle, but you guys have to figure out what's the most comfortable way of doing it, and you're sitting on the bird, and the bird can definitely feel the weight of all of you, but nonetheless is going to hop up onto the ledge. Everybody has this moment of anxiety and anticipation. Tesh, you have a twinge of excitement. You know how good this could go, and it didn't hurt last time you fell off. The bird
And
dives.
when it did go well, it was fun.
The bird dives, power bomb down. The two of you feeling that rush of cold air that across your face. Luckily, much warmer than the first time he dove. The ground's coming at you faster than you've ever experienced beforehand, and all of a sudden the wings open, and the thing pulls out of the dive as high up as it can. And ride checks, but I need them in this order. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Who's
Wow.
Valrin, you would technically go last because you're in the front.
Oh,
Who's
okay.
riding in the back, and who's riding bitch? Oh,
sad.
I swore, Naughty Dark, you get 100 daddies.
Hey, no. Damn it. I'm real sad that I used a good roll on that then.
That's what you
I
get.
can go in
You
the
got the gun.
front, I
Well, he
guess.
said I'm gonna need ride checks, and then after I clicked it. I'd been sitting ready to click the ride check that entire time, and he was like, I'm gonna need ride checks. Click, but.
Daddy's given. So who's riding last? Sorry.
I'm happy to. That's fine.
You're going last? Okay, roll your ride check for me.
Raren's a confident rider.
And who's next?
Never rode a flying beast before, though.
One, roll your ride check.
Okay.
Oh, that was actually really good, so you don't have to worry about the other part. So as you guys do your power dive and pulling out, one, I want you to do me one more little favor. Roll me a strength check. Strength check.
Oh no!
Grab me!
Ah!
Oh no! You're coming with me.
So this is what happens. The bird pulls out of the power dive, and all of a sudden you feel the G-forces in the back end. You know how it is right at the back end of a plane, right? It's like oof, and you just like go up and sit too hard in your seat, and you go flying off, and you're grabbing for whatever you can. And one reaches out, and it's literally like a finger grab. And one like reaches out and just barely grabs your fingers. It's like, I got you, and you're like trying to pull yourself back on, but then it just onto the ground below. Oh.
This bird has not learned. Don't dive straight away.
What's up, Tyler? Roll me
Can
an
I
acrobatics
try
check,
and,
Neil.
Bring the bird back around to catch him.
We'll get to, well, unfortunately, things like that can happen when you're higher up than 30 feet off the ground.
Acrobatics,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, no, he's
acrobatics check. Yep. 3d6.
Oh my god!
Oh god! And you fall down off of the bird, and
Thunk.
you take 12 points of damage as you hit the ground so hard. How much health does your character have at max?
10.
So you're knocked clean out cold.
He's -2.
Yep.
I would be there trying to bring the bird back around to land nearby so I could go administer a
Oh
potion.
no, the smell of blood. The bird.
Roll me a ride check.
Can
Can I assist him?
I do animal handling?
So my apologies. Animal handling, and he'll give you a +1 for that assistance.
Yeah.
Hits it in the back of the head when it leans down to bite. No.
You pull the thing around fairly easily, and it lands down onto the grounds nearby. Neil, technically speaking, you have to try to see if you can stabilize, which is, I believe, it's been a long time in Pathfinder. I believe it's a fortitude save to see if you can stabilize.
I don't know. You're the one who needs to know this.
Roll me a fortitude save. So you're stabilized. You stay at -2, and you don't drop health points every round or anything like that. So you guys come around, and you see him on the ground. You kind of jump off the bird, slide off as quickly as you can. You come rushing over. You see he's down on the ground and unconscious. Do you have healing spells there, Tesh?
No, but I know he has a health pot on him somewhere.
2d8 + 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we use the light one.
That's the moderate wounds gone.
It is.
Do you land on the stuff he threw off the balcony? You heal 10. Hey. So, but just so you know, unlike 5e, so -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So 8 health points where you're sitting at.
Stupid bloody bird.
Yep.
Why does it dive like that every single time?
Yeah.
I thought you said you knew how to ride it.
I mean,
Aren't we going a long way? Surely diving is just inefficient.
Well, we'll be launching from the ground this time, so hopefully won't be an issue. You okay?
No, not really. Like, there's like clearly blood running down the side of his face, and like already started to mat in his hair.
So you guys get onto the bird again, apprehensively for one of you.
And then when he's like okay, but like a little bit hurt, but okay, that's when he actually does do the little bit of joking of like, you should just hold on better.
And maybe he should sit in the middle. You know what I mean? Where he's snug. Yeah. You can use Jake's pelvis to keep you safe. So you guys climb around back to the back of the bird again, and the bird this time goes to take off. But unlike before, it's usually a dive and a pull out of the dive and go off where it's clean. It's like this weird laborious, heavy. It takes like 3 attempts of hopping to the air to actually get airborne because all of you are just so heavy. I mean, I'm sorry, but one of you has been packing in the rations, and so you guys are on the birds. It finally takes to the sky, and it takes a while for it to. It doesn't even get straight out of the valley like it usually would do. It circles around anyways, but it doesn't get straight to the altitude it needs to get out of the valley. It actually has to turn and circle around the valley for a second to clamber up to the altitude it needs to actually be able to get out of here safely. And then it starts heading east. It starts heading it takes you a minute, but due east.
Make a right.
And so it starts heading northeast, similar to the path it was on beforehand.
Okay. So I mean, I believe it wants to take us somewhere, but do we have a direction?
Not really. If we could stop by any civilization and I could make some inquiries, would be great. But I've got nothing at the moment.
To confirm, I thought we had one thing where it was the slave trail.
I see what you did there.
Them all.
I think we did, but I don't even know if he was taken that way.
Okay.
I don't think I know that. I just think I was grasping at straws. I'm not sure. Scott, did I know he was taken there?
He was taken to which one was it? I believe you thought he was potentially going to Loshev, which is north of Forvin, which is where you guys had both kind of like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Northeast is actually where we just have to steer it slightly more north. In that case, then yeah, let's do that.
Yep.
After an hour,
So I would attempt to sort of steer it a little bit more towards. Once we see the river, I would attempt to steer it to follow the river.
okay, so you just kind of let it go on its own until you see the river. So the first hour, the thing flies much more fiercely than it did prior to that. What reason? Who knows? But that first hour, it flies with some pretty strong intent. You know that it's that first hour, miles go flying by under your feet.
Damn.
And after that first hour's time, you break out of the hill area where all the hills are and so on and so forth beneath. Just as a reminder, when you guys are actually looking at the mapped version of the game, so I'm actually going to change that for you guys in 1 second so you can see, so PCs can see. Here we go. Each hex is an entire 16 miles. So each hex is 16 miles. So going from that keep that's right there over to like where that little X was marked on our map before, and I know this isn't for viewers to see this, I'm talking to the PCs, but more or less back to the region where they first met each other, where the hill was, where they fought and got freedom and so on and so forth. It takes you 1 hour to get all the way back to that area. But then from there,
I want a giant eagle, please.
It slows down considerably after that period of time and starts heading less of the east. Before it was headed east, now it starts heading northeast, and then it starts traveling along that trek. It takes another 2 hours before the river comes totally in sight, and 2 hours after that, the total of 5 hours of travel, when finally you're actually flying over the river itself. This is where it's continuing to travel northeast and looking to cross the river and go along, but where you start being like, no, I want you to head north, even somewhat northwest, back a bit, following along the river to bring us over in that direction. And so you're going to try to make a handle animal check to do this. Like I said, your friends are here, so I'm going to allow you to take a +1 for that as you're trying to guide this thing. Let's see how it goes.
It's taking us where it wants to go.
As always, you're welcome to roll a luck check if you would like.
What do you think? Do we luck this one? Okay. It's taking us where it wants to go.
Sometimes you have to let the Wookiee win.
So you let it go, and it continues to travel northeast. As I said, that was 5 hours time just to get you to right over where the river is. So just to paint this here, get you to here, and then that was. I hate the way that this is snapping. Please don't snap. So
It's okay, we're moving fast enough that you can't hear it. You can't hear the fart. The poop may be an issue.
the 5 hours get you to where the river is, but then it continues traveling northeast even from there. And another, where are we? So another 5 hours pass. Sorry, not 5 hours. Another 2 hours pass as it flies well past where that river was, and into the woods start to appear below. Underneath. Woods, I say, not forest, because it's not particularly dense. It's more like the kind of woods that you would find in, say, like New England, or I believe much of the UK and whatnot, where you can easily walk between the trees or ride between the trees, but nonetheless, many, many trees all around you, right? And then another 2 hours past that, the bird's flaps and whatnot are beginning to get very laborious. It's been carrying your weight for a considerable amount of time. It's been going on. It's now been 7 hours of travel. Wait, sorry, 5, 7, 9 hours of travel. The thing is really, really struggling.
It carried us the entire way. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
I have to make a saving throw in 1 second. Fortitude saves for the bird. Giant eagle.
It failed with the nat 1. You're all falling 300 feet. Have fun.
Yeah. We die.
I get a plus.
Lucky I enjoyed the Pathfinder character creation.
I will say I did not even remotely think the idea of doing all 7 within a month was possible. It's a little more possible now.
Yeah.
As long as this bird sticks around.
And so that first hour to get you to where last described, and then the next 2 hours after that, it actually beats all of the fortitude saves, the lowest one being a 14. All 3 fortitude saves. Each of you guys also up there, exhausted, fatigue as well. I'm gonna have you each roll just 1 fortitude save to cover, because you're riding, not walking, to cover your own exhaustion for 11 hours of flight.
I'm actually sandwiched between the two, and I mean, I don't want to quote you, but I believe Jake's pelvis is holding me in, so I don't need to make one.
You made me laugh, and then it rolled off at like an 18.
That's awesome.
I watched it.
Yeah,
I watched it
his
roll off.
joke is what affected the digital dice.
It was. I know that's not what actually happened, but it was. Oh my god!
Jake has a very
That
effective pelvis.
There's
you know?
some hips.
Some moves, man. Them hips don't lie. So
Am I fatigued?
you are fatigued as you guys come landing. So what
out
ends
of
up happening-
everyone to get fatigued, being me is a good thing.
what happens is you guys had left, like I said, early in the morning this day. So you have all of the morning, and then because it is springtime, so the days last much longer. It's sunsetting at like 8 p.m. at night or whatever it is. 8 p.m., 11 hours get you all the way back to what's that, like 9 a.m. in the morning. So you guys had left probably before that. So the sun's starting to set off in the horizon as you're riding over this forest. When all of a sudden you feel the bird just suddenly drop several degrees and start plummeting down towards. This isn't a straight power dive like it did beforehand. It's not going to do that from this height, but it does start dropping down, and after it drops probably like a third the distance down to the ground, it then starts circling and making it a more relaxed drop down. You can't quite see where it's going until somebody make a perception check. I don't care who.
Okay.
You're gonna get a +2 from your friends. Oh,
Very perceptive boy.
you actually notice it down below. You know, you're not the one that's steering. You notice it down below, looking off the tail feathers, that there is actually a keep that's set down into the forest. As a matter of fact, the reason why it stands out is because it's the area where there's no trees immediately around it, right? But there's trees that grow looking like even up to actually the gate or the walls of the keep itself. But you see the keep down below. It has a roof that is looks like it's actually almost entirely intact. There's only a small portion of the roof that is actually crumbled in. And so the bird ends up coming down and landing, once again, heavier than you expected, Tesh, but much heavier this time than that time we talked about beforehand due to, all of the additional weight. And with a onto that roof down below. Each of you guys come off of it. And the bird, as soon as you guys kind of slide off of it, I imagine stumbling off, everybody's legs all bowed and in pain and whatnot, flopping onto the ground below. The
I
bird,
would make sure to give the bird pats and scritches. He's a good girl.
it takes those and then looks back at you and is like, "Arr!" And then goes over to the edge, takes a moment to like gather its strength in its shoulders, kind of like rotating its shoulders once or twice, and then takes off and flies away from the roof of this keep.
Man, I hope the owl's coming back.
Something tells me it's owl of here.
That
It's not coming back.
was great.
That was
It
awful
might
in
just be
all imaginable ways.
just the hopeful. It might just be looking for food. Let's just hope.
Oh God, it was terrible. So yeah,
It wouldn't fly all the way back now. It does. It's not got the energy for that.
and so it flies off, and it's because of the trees that are actually tall enough, because these are coniferous trees, right? This is a region that experiences both winter and
They're carnivorous?
That's not.
coniferous.
I know.
Coniferous trees. So they're rather tall pine trees and whatnot around. It actually flies, so it's out of sight. Some of the trees immediately around
Where
you.
it disappears.
Tell them to keep it. So anyways, you guys are there standing on the roof of this building. Each one of you legs aching. One of you literally fatigue, and got kind of like, where are we?
I would bring out my map and try to sort of confer about where I think we are, based on the amount of time to the river and the amount of time after the river.
Do me a favor, because if you're spending a bit of time doing this and not like a moment, if you spend like a good 10-15 minutes trying to confer this while everybody else is like rubbing out their legs, why don't you roll me an intelligence check?
Oh my god.
Again, you can always use luck. I'll keep prompting, and then eventually I'll give up prompting.
No, No, I'm not going to use it on this.
Cool. So you try to confirm your notes and whatnot. You're like, well, you know that you're definitely east of Leshev, which is where you're hoping for. You don't know how north or south of Leshev you are, but you know if you started traveling west, you would eventually hit that river. There's no doubt in your mind you'd eventually hit that river, and from there you can kind of figure out if you're north or south of where Leshev is, based off of like the flow and the strength of the river and so on.
Well, I believe this is probably one of the keeps. We should be careful if we are going to enter the keep. Though he did mention that some of the keeps, the protections on them would falter if I enter first. So
This isn't exactly ideal. We weren't even able to deal with the other keep, and now we've been dropped off at a fresh one.
no, but I think part of what we're doing is making sure we know where in the state and the challenge of each of the keeps. As he said, we have to destroy the curse at all locations within a month.
Yes, the magical ghost said we had to destroy the curse, or we could help our friend find his friend.
I agree. I think that is a priority. But I do believe we need a place to rest first.
Creepy keep it is.
Do we go inside, or can we look around for some, like, this is him asking you two. This is his expertise are knowing knowledge, not knowing how to do things.
Let's just go inside. There'll probably be several traps, but at least inside it's safer than outside.
Anything to note on the roof?
So the roof itself is battered by weather, as you can imagine, and there is that one crumbling section of the roof that's over in a corner. But other than that, you don't notice any thing of note in the roof. There's parapets and whatnot, as you can imagine, because of course it is a keep.
Is there a way off the roof?
Going to the edge and checking all of them. Sans, of course, in the hole. The only way off the roof would be potentially toss a rope if you have enough length, and to rappel yourself down.
Oh dear.
I guess we're dropping in then.
Sounds like a plan.
I don't believe I have rope, unfortunately.
I do.
What fun our magical ghost friend and giant owl have prepared for us, I wonder. It's not an owl, it's sarcasm, alright.
Yes, yes.
Isn't it an owl though?
Look, when we get back to a city, I will buy a book that has a sketch of an owl. Or perhaps we could find an owl, and then I will teach you the difference between an owl and an eagle. There's a difference in the shape of the wingtip and the tail feathers, as well as the face and the beak.
I'll take you up on that.
Val is finding this very amusing.
You make your way over to the collapsed portion of the roof, figuring might as well just go in, and immediately going over there and just trying to look in.
We'll just go.
You test the edge first, make sure it's safe, and you're all like looking and leaning in.
You get a camera angle of like the hole up, and you just see all three heads just poking over.
Yeah, poke it down. Yep. The waning light, like the color lit sky behind them as they're doing that, and as they're looking down into the hole and seeing what's inside, what you do see is that there is, of course, the floor down below, parts of the rubble that have collapsed from the roof overhead, and honestly, right at first, no sign of any creatures that are inside there. No sign of anything. Some old furniture that is completely destroyed, battered by the weathering effect of the course of hundreds of years, et cetera, et cetera. Clearly, some plants are growing inside there as well, because there's like roots that you can see inside there, like vines that are growing inside there, things like that. But what do you expect when literally it's a forest area and part of the roof is collapsed, therefore part of the wall that the roof, like where it attaches to, is collapsed, and this vine's coming up this side of the wall. If you didn't have enough rope to get down, this is probably the safest side to climb down into the area below. So This is going to be the easiest spot to get into the keep. You can try to use the vines and hope that they're strong enough to support your weight and maneuver your way over to them and climb down and in. Or you can anchor a rope and use that to climb down.
What do you think?
I'd probably anchor a rope.
I think I don't have any rope.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Yes, but we would be losing that rope.
For now,
This is true.
I intend to get it back.
The question is, do we want to camp on the roof here or camp in the hole? The weather doesn't look so bad. However, I should imagine on top it would be rather breezy.
You would be safer on the roof.
Probably.
We don't know what's inside.
Potentially, unless there's some actual giant owls about, in which case, when night comes around, we might make a tasty treat.
Trees are rather tall. I would hope there's nothing in them that could reach the roof, but I think if we're going to camp anywhere, the roof is probably a better bet. We just have to pay attention.
You do still have some daylight left if you wanted to drop in and explore before you went any further. The only one that is fatigue is Valorant.
Yeah, and fatigue is not necessarily good, but it's not terrible for me.
It's up to you guys.
I mean, if we've got some daylight left, we can always tie
Scout.
the rope and have a quick look around.
Yes, I see no reason not to scout it. At least if
If
we know what
anything-
we're going to be facing tomorrow, or perhaps if it's safe to sleep inside, a little bit of cover from the wind would not go amiss.
If anything, we can maybe bar ourselves in a room, and then it would be a much safer place to sleep.
So grabbing how many pythons do you guys have? Was it just the one, or do you have a few? I imagine there's a couple of them.
I have one.
Yeah, I imagine there's a couple of them amongst you guys. So grabbing, doing a tri-python kind of hold. So you have one that you initially anchor the rope towards, another one far out wide that you would anchor it towards, kind of break the hold in the first one, and then one kind of looping back the other way. What's up? What?
Just one.
Just one?
Just one.
You're not going to use all three?
We don't.
I don't have one.
No, but you have multiple in a pack. Like, you don't carry, if you have rope and climbing stuff, you don't have just one.
Oh, thank
you know?
God.
So you do like a
You
try
just-
hold to make sure
about
that in case all three of you needed to be on it at once, you're not worried that all of a sudden it would just break free and fall on you. You would at least have some degree of warning and hopefully can actually support all of your weight. You get the python set up, tink up there. You get a rope tied around them. You do it smart. The drop down below it's actually a decent sized drop because ceilings are not very low. So it's almost a 30-foot drop down from this to the landing down below. So the 50-foot length of rope, you throw it down below and it kind of slops on the ground. And each of you guys start, like I said, there's vines and whatnot that are growing in the area. There's ivy that's growing in. There's roots inside the place. But you just start to climb down the rope. And I believe, Tash, you're the one that wants to climb down the rope first?
Unfortunately, yes, because I wanted to be the first one to enter in case it did.
I would suggest as well using the rope and the vine as well to alleviate, some pressure.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you start climbing down, utilizing the rope mostly, and the vines next. Does somebody else start climbing down after he's at the bottom and settled, or do you start climbing okay, he's most of the way there, I'm going to start now?
I would wait.
Okay, so he starts getting down there, and he gets about halfway down the thing, kind of using the rope and shimmying down it as best as he can and holding onto the vines and using those to alleviate the pressure, like you were saying. And he's actually doing a pretty good job of the pressure between the two, using the rope to shimmy down, which is it's only a DC 10 climb check. But honestly, the vines themselves are giving him enough of a bonus that he doesn't have to really make a check because he's holding onto the vines almost as well as the vines start holding onto him. And from up above, the two of you see the vines seem to come alive as they start to quickly wrap around Valorant, suspended
far away is
mid-air between the 30-foot drop of the ceiling to the
15
floor
feet away
below.
from you.
And with that, why don't we end this week's session?
Oh, god damn it. I'm fucking getting that fucking Half-Life thing in the roof. is that what's happening?
Oh, okay. Well, that was fun. Of course, we're on our way to keep 2 and figuring out what we have to do here. To
Man, we had a crazy amount of 1s and 20s in this session, like
Yeah.
both of them.
yeah,
I've had 2 20s.
yep. It was.
I think I rolled. Did I roll all the ones?
Not all of them.
You
I
rolled a
rolled.
fair chunk.
I rolled 1-1, and you rolled the rest.
Yeah.
Oy vey. Well, at least the tech issues subsided enough that we could get through the stream without too much anguish. So that's a good thing, and hopefully we have everything completely repaired for next time. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Stream Deck and Samsung screen. So hopefully I can get those working again. And the problem was I updated my Stream Deck last night while I was on a call with somebody, and
Yeah, you were playing with your deck last night on call with someone.
it just started blinking at me. Literally, I was like, it's like Samsung, don't call me out. Blink, 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 blink. You see it?
Knows.
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, God. All right, so let's call this session to a close. Let's call the session to a close. Oh God. Tash, how can we find you? Where are you gonna be?
Hi, I'm Tesh with the Tesh Tube. You can find me under that name on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on Twitter for all the updates, lots of cute animal gifs, and follow me on the other things if you like watching anything like looter shooters, RPGs, especially Warframe. Been playing a lot of Warframe recently, and also you can find me here for this D&D, and you can find me on my Monday mornings, America's Sunday nights, for on Ollie Rant's channels, twitch.tv/Ollie Rant for another game there. It's on hiatus now, but it'll be coming back soon.
And speaking of Ollie Rant, and Neil.
Hey, you can find me here or twitch.tv/OllieRant or on the Discord at Nakai or on Twitter at Nakai_. You can find me in an hour on Ollie's channel, and we are playing a game of D&D 5e, and that has Dean, Cuddy, Zero, Doxy, and the lovely Arvine, and we are venturing, no spoilers, towards the Underdark. And it's good fun. It's very different to Pathfinder, but it's good fun.
Yeah.
And it's also in a very homebrew world.
Ollie's been working on that world for years, whereas this one's a couple months old at most.
I just realized I can actually say now, not only is their group going to the Underdark, the new campaign that's starting in 3 weeks.
Spoilers!
We can say we are in the Underdark as well. So that's going to be interesting.
Fun fact, I'm going to assassinate you.
And
Probably, honestly.
Jake, anything that you need to say or announce?
Yep. You can find me here, and that's it.
Okay. And then couple of quick little announcements. Just as a reminder, while the campaign is going to continue pushing on, the first week of May, I believe it's the first week of May, we will not be playing the campaign, as I will be. That's so not May 1st, May 8th. We will not be playing the game, as I will be down in Jacksonville, Florida, for the May 7th charity stream that'll be going on over at Roll numerical 4 charity, twitch.tv/Roll4 charity. That'll be a 10-hour session with myself and a bunch of others at a physical table. On a physical table, actually playing with real dice, hanging out with one another with beer and whatnot. So it's going to be great. Everything over there is going to be for charity, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'd invite everybody to come and hang out and watch. We're going to be hosted by twitch.tv/D&D and whatnot as well, which is really cool. So definitely come check that out. And if you want to support this show or anything about it, of course, there's over on Patreon. You can continue giving gifts. We actually just got a new patron had jumped on about a week ago. So I'm going to release another new little VOD for those that get the VODs on there for the items that are going to be rolled out by them. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. So it's, it's actually, you guys are kind of fun. You guys are kind of lucky. You haven't been getting the big release of items at once from your silent patron because we don't have a patron yet. But when that happens and you're actually just adventuring and going through typical adventure stuff, and then all this stuff just comes in like one big lump sum at the beginning of each month, and you're like, oh, well, this is nice. Oh, okay. Well then.
We just have to make it that long.
Yeah, you just have to survive that long. Well, we know at least 2 of you have a chance. All right, so we'll see everybody next week, 8:30 a.m. EST for this game. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.
Bye. You know what's going to happen is Tesh is going to get grabbed by those vines. One's going to look at Ray, and Ray's going to go, That's a shame.